So let's go to a wild card line 5. Gary in Santa Maria, California. Welcome to Coast to Coast AM.
Thank you very much. Wish I didn't have to follow that call.
Right.
But I wanted to talk about TPP. George asked me a little bit about it, but he had I guess it would have been off topic. You are as familiar with TPP as I am, I think, and what this Congress has done. And please, I want to address these comments particularly to the truck drivers and the Teamsters out there. What this Congress and Senate has done is gotten in our face, point blank, 1 inch from our nose, and flipped us all the bird. They just about said, we don't care what you think. We're going to do what our international corporations and bankers tell us to do. They don't care if you vote them out of office, because every single one of them have been promised jobs as lobbyists or on board of advisors at 5 to 6 times what they're making as congressmen. Mm-hmm. Our country has been bought out, hook, line, and sinker, and it's going to be almost impossible to stop. The Democrats and the Republicans have handed fast-track authority to Obama. They're still, and the most insidious thing that they have done is that they have covered this trade agreement with a national security blanket. Give me a break. As if we're dealing with some thin-skinned diplomat from Vietnam that's going to get upset. No, these are corporate attorneys that are negotiating this. The representatives of these countries say wear their corporate hat 1 week and represent Vietnam the next week. There is nothing national security related about this. How can they keep it secret where even a congressman is threatened with treason for just mentioning it? They can't even take in a notepad. We elect them to represent us. How do they represent us if nobody knows what's in that agreement? And even if we did know what was in the agreement, it's a living agreement. Once it's passed, it can be changed at any time, secretly. It's bad enough that it's out there. Nobody knows what's in it. They passed it. They slimeballed way of getting it passed, Nancy Pelosi being the biggest culprit that there is, followed by Feinstein, Boehner, Obama. Imagine them. They're right in your face, flipping you the bird. They just don't care anymore. They know where their bread is buttered.
But, okay, Gary, so what do we do in these situations when we face the fact that special interest groups are being paid, the politicians are in the pockets of big corporate America and organizations like this, and they're taking these bribes, they're knowing that their jobs are secure, whether they're there or not moving on, they're going to have some kind of security. It takes the power away from the people. I mean, in that sense, because the people that we put into power hoping they're going to do right by us get the allure of delusions of grandeur to these other things. We have no way of knowing who's going to stick to it and who's not. And like you said, then those that want to step up and speak against it start getting things like treason thrown in their face. How do we rectify a problem like this at this point? What do we do?
Our choices are very few. And one entity that might be able to do something is the Teamsters. They're the only ones large enough and big enough with big rigs that can come up with great problems in the Beltway of Washington, D.C. They have stood up to government before, but I'm even starting to have some doubts about the Teamsters. You know, if you're making $35,000 to $70,000 a year, and the Democrats said, well, we're going to protect jobs or we're not going to vote for it. Well, protecting jobs translated into giving you 6 to 12 weeks of unemployment. So they take away your $40,000 a year job. Here, boy, here you go. Here's a $4,000 unemployment check. Now make sure you get your retraining at Walmart and McDonald's because you're going to need it. What kind of job protection compensates a man with $4,000 worth of unemployment when you take away his $40,000 a year job? And I'm beginning to think that the Teamsters want these 300,000 truck drivers coming up from Mexico with their $6 licenses that don't have to pay attention to the DOT transportation and the $3,800 in school that it takes to be a truck driver. And so long as the Teamsters get their 2.5 times whatever the hourly wages and dues, I don't really know if they care about us anymore. The airwaves should be plastered with ads. This national security umbrella that the secret negotiations are under has to be removed, and I don't know if this country has the guts to do it anymore.
All right. Thank you, Gary. I mean, you bring up some interesting points. The problem is, Gary, you're just not passionate enough about it. I don't know that I really believe what you're asking. I'm kidding, of course. Obviously, Gary is a firm believer in those points.